All right, we are live. Fantastic. Okay, cool. Thank you guys for joining today. I'm excited for this one. This is, I believe, the first live stream of the year for 2025. And so I want to start with one that I'm pretty fired up to get into, and it's the sold out playbook for Shopify. And so we're going to talk about we're going to kind of show some numbers on the company we acquired 18 months ago and what we did in those first kind of 6 months as we got inventory and how we're able to sell out in basically 180 days. So I'll dive into it. So let me share my screen here. So just so you guys know, and first, thank you guys for people who are joining on LinkedIn, on YouTube, on Instagram, on Facebook. What else do we have here? X. So thank you guys for jumping on, and some people coming from the limited supply community. So what I want to hit on is this is going to be pretty tactical. So if you have a new company acquired, if you're starting a company, or maybe you're just sitting on a bunch of inventory, hopefully this can be helpful as you try and navigate what do I even do. So let me go big picture. Here's what happened. We acquired this company, Neat. We sell sweatproof t-shirts. Here it is right here. And we got this company and we're like, okay, let's go. We're a growth team. We need to grow this. And so here's the initial website that we had. And it wasn't necessarily bad, but all the headline said was nothing but neat. So we're like, okay, we know we're starting with the website. Second is they weren't really running ads. So we had to kind of build it from scratch. And with this product, once you like this t-shirt, that's, that hides pit stains, hide back sweat, you're going to want more color. So we know email is a big part of that, right? And so we're going to get into the tactics on what we did, but the end result was, after running this process, after dialing in the positioning, the offer, making that come through on the website, come through on social ads, we were able to take the conversion rate from 0.6% to 3%. We're able to take the average order value, AOV, from basically $58 to almost $100. And then we were able to scale ads where the return on ad spend, or ROAS, was at 3. But more importantly, this is the sold out playbook. We're able to sell out, which, by the way, is a problem. This is not a goal to go for. You should be much better at inventory management, so you constantly have inventory, right? But this is also a good problem to have because you start to see, wow, we need a lot more extra larges and larges than we need smalls. By the way, if you are a size small and need a sweatproof shirt, please check it out. We overbought on those. Okay. So how do you do this? How do you go from idea to sold out? So first, I'm not going to just give you some big green button you hit where all your dreams come true. It's a little lumpy, right? And so this is kind of our past year where we launched, this works, we sold out, but then it was a problem. It impacted sales. But then we got creative. We started doing pre-orders. We started building a wait list. And once things came back in stock, it started working. By the way, we sold out again. But next week we have more products. So we've been able to successfully do this 2 times. So who is this playbook for? Who can this help? So you might be making one of these 3 mistakes. And by the way, I've made all of these mistakes. So first, you're sending traffic to a site that doesn't convert. You're like really fired up to grow your company, grow your brand. Like, turn on the ads, let's go. Facebook, Meta ads, we're live. Google ads, I'm doing branded, non-branded search. But you're sending good money to a bad site, right? It's not ready to convert. Or second, maybe you only grow when you pay for ads, but it's not profitable. You're like, hey, we're getting conversions, but we're not making enough money to buy that next round of inventory or to hire people or even pay yourself. Or third, maybe you can get sales and grow, but it's not predictable and repeatable. It's from one-off stunts, influencer things, and announcements, and it's not sustainable. And most importantly, it's not predictable and repeatable. So if you're making these mistakes, feel free to let me know if this resonates. If it's 1, 2, or 3, you can hit me up in the chat or the comments. Let me know your thoughts. Okay, cool. This is coming in from Facebook. Yeah, I totally hear you on that. Like, a low conversion rate might be what's blocking you. Yeah, ads are can be hard to scale, and it's hard to know what amount to start with. And candidly, we started with basically 3 grand per month in ad spend as we were figuring out, what makes the most sense for our business model. And by the way, when I was doing this, I basically gave us 60 days to test and learn. I was not expecting results out of the gate. And usually, when we work with our clients at GrowthHit, we say about 90 days to be conservative. Okay. So let's talk about what we're going to hit on with the playbook today. So we'll make it a little bit bigger. There we go. So first, I'm a big fan of keeping it simple. So here are the 5 steps to basically go from idea, go from sitting on a bunch of inventory, maybe it's in your garage, stacking up in Tupperware or cardboard boxes, to sold out, right? Let's empty out that garage. I spoke with someone yesterday that's like, they call it Tupperware City with all the products that they're trying to sell. So first, I want to talk about, are you ready to grow? Right? Because this is kind of where we need to start and seeing where we need to focus our attention. So what kind of stems from that is usually it's positioning. And I see people bypass this step because it's kind of a hard step and we kind of think we get it and we quickly want to stand up ads. That is the wrong thing to do. I want you to start thinking through, how do I craft a unique value prop so that the most skeptical buyer, when they see it, they're like, that's pretty good. Actually, you have my attention. The second thing is, after we have the value prop, that is not enough. That's like 80% of the way there. We need to come up with an activation offer that gets you to convert. So what's the standard for a really good offer? You are on mobile, you're on your phone, you're in line at Starbucks or somewhere to get a coffee. You see something, you see an offer through an ad, and you're like, it's so good, you will stop what you're doing to make that purchase, right? Do you have that irresistible offer? And then the third thing, once we know who we're talking to, once we know how to get their attention with an offer, third, we need to make this come to life. We need to stand up this funnel. And I'm going to show you how you can do that on a shoestring budget. What's the least amount of money and time you can spend to make a funnel that actually converts? Fourth, we need to know the numbers. We need to build your growth model so we can maximize your limited budget. Like for us, we started at 3 grand per month to test and learn on what would work and not work. So I'm going to show you how to do the math there. And then finally, once we have all this in place, what's your launch strategy? And how do you launch when you're not sitting on a pile of cash? And then finally, as a bonus, we'll talk about the growth calendar that I've talked about before. And by the way, we have an e-product we're selling, which is the sold out playbook. We're including AI prompts. So basically it'll be done for you. And we have workbooks you could do. But again, you could just listen today and get all this for free. But we have something fun coming out here in the next few weeks with a custom GPT that'll be tied to it. Okay, so let's dive in. Are you even ready to grow? That's the first question. So we have what we call the scalability assessment. Whenever I'm working with someone, I really am trying to diagnose where they're strong and where they're maybe weak, and there's opportunities. And the 3 big categories that I'm trying to look at is, first, do you have a positioning problem? And then second, I'm like, okay, do you have a conversion problem? And then third, do you have a traffic problem? And some people are stronger or weaker in these categories. Usually it's positioning. And by the way, if you bypass this step and just start to grow, man, it's an accelerant for failure. I see too many times people go past this of diagnosing what they need to fix, and they just want to grow, and it's a quick way to burn some money. Okay, so the other thing that I want to get into is the scalability assessment. So with those 3 categories of positioning, conversion, and traffic, these are the questions I want to ask so you can score yourself. So with positioning, hey, do you get new customers or win in a competitive buying process because of your point of differentiation? Can your customers talk to their friends on why you're different? Like, hey, check out Neat. If you're going to a music festival and it's going to be 90 degrees, wear that shirt. It won't show pit stains. And then, are you a must-have as opposed to a nice-to-have? And again, bonus points if you've got urgency and you are a true must-have. From a conversion standpoint, do you have a strong conversion rate? And ideally on mobile, and ideally from paid traffic. So what's a strong conversion rate? There's a bazillion benchmarks depending on your price point and if it's a considered purchase. But roughly speaking, you're selling an e-commerce product that is between 50 to 125 bucks, over 2 to 2.5 would be decent. And then the next question, do you have a strong activation offer that gets people to convert quickly? And then finally, can you convert customers in an ROI positive way where, hey, I can convert people, but I'm giving away free products. I'm discounting. And then the final section is around traffic. You might have a goal to sell out, but do you even have enough traffic to hit that goal? Also, do you have diversified traffic? Are you just dependent on one influencer, one referral website? Are you dependent on Facebook ads or just on SEO? Can you diversify your traffic? And then here's my favorite question. Do you have a proven traffic lever that if pulled, you could double your business today? So as you answer these questions, you're basically going to rate it a 1, 2, or 3. 3 is highest and it's best. 1 is low. A 3 is like, yep, I got this under control. 2 is kind of middle of the road, like, it's okay. And 1 is no. And once you do this, you can quantify and see where you need to focus. What I'm going to go through today is addressing all of these in order. So we're going to start with crafting your unique positioning or value proposition. So I'm going to give you 2 frameworks. Here's the first one. It's the positioning framework. You've probably seen different iterations of this. And this answers one extremely important question: why customers should care. And so the why is so key, because if you bypass this and you know who your customer is and the problem you solve, it makes marketing so much harder. So with this formula, let me call out a few kind of critical things. The first is you really want to nail your target customer. The more specific, the better. Instead of saying like, for all humanity, for all men, let's dial that in. I'll give the example of NEAT in a second. Another one is I want you to really understand what is the core benefit, not feature, core benefit you offer and how it supports the need that they have. So there should be alignment here. Now, here's the hardest part. Who are we competing against and what's our point of differentiation in the minds of the customer? Like, why do they actually care? Not why you think they should care, why they should care. And by the way, here's a tip. You're usually not competing against a direct competitor. You're competing against a category. You're competing against status quo. You're competing against indifference. And so that's something to think about. That's step 1. Step 2 is once you know why they should care, we need to know how to speak to these people. It's like, okay, we know why they should care, but how do I put that to life? What language do they speak? I'm not talking, German, French, or English. I'm talking, do we speak to them in features? Do they want to nerd out and get into the tech specs? Do we speak to them in benefits? Do we speak to them in a problem solution format where, man, that problem, you finally become that painkiller? Thank you. My favorite is number 4, which is use case. It's kind of elevating the problem to a specific use case. Again, Spanx is an amazing example of this with their shapewear product to wear under dresses when you're going to a nice event. Or you could speak to them with the transformation or the aspiration of what will happen. So again, to reiterate, why customers should care, 1, 2, how you speak to them. So what do we do for need? So I'll show you why customers should care and how we speak to them. So for them, we really dialed in on males 25 to 55, but specifically that run hot. Ideally, they're an extra large or large, and they might even have hyperhidrosis. And the point of differentiation for us is, yes, there's amazing shirts out there that are soft and fit really well. Keep those. But if you want a shirt that hides pit stains or back sweat because you're outside on a hot summer day or you're doing a presentation, then you come to NEAT. And so we started to understand why they should care, but how do we speak to them? It's not about features, talking about thread count. For us, it's really problem solution on pit stains and back sweat and showing a use case. So I'm kind of getting ahead of myself, but you kind of see in our headline up here, unlike regular t-shirts, ours hide sweat. So notice how we're villainizing, not like other brands, but just other t-shirts. And then we're speaking to no pit stains, no back sweat. And then the use case, we're kind of exaggerating a use case with this water balloon test here, where here's other brands, here's NEAT. He pops a water balloon. With our shirt, it doesn't soak through. With other brands, it does soak through. So again, problem, solution, and use case. we're leaning very hard into that. So that's one. Do you know your value prop on why customers should care? And two, do you know how to speak to them? So check, we've got it. Now to the next thing. It's not enough. We need to create an activation offer that works. We need to get them over the finish line. You need to give them a reason to buy. So there's a few different formulas out there, and I'm going to show two. One, this is from $100 Million Offer, which is the irresistible offer formula. And think of this from like a theoretical standpoint on how you could craft your offer. So first, what's the dream outcome? After using your product, what is their life like? The second is likelihood of achievement. It's like, hey, a 99% success rate, or is it a 10% success rate? This one's big. Time delay to the desired outcome. How long until I achieve this, right? Is this 7-minute abs where I'm going to see results in X amount of days? And then this could also be speed, how fast they can get the product. And then minimize effort or sacrifice. What effort do I have to put in to pull this off, right? Like Curology is a great one where, hey, we'll let you text with a dermatologist to get your prescription. You do not have to go in person to an appointment. That's really minimizing effort or sacrifice. The other thing to throw on top of this would be a guarantee. So start to think through, of these 4 traits, what would work for your business or for your product. But now, once you have those ideas, how does that come to life? What does that look like as an actual offer you'd put on a website, you'd put in an email, you'd put in an ad? So we created what we call the activation offer spectrum, from the least aggressive tactic to the most aggressive tactic. So what do I mean when I say aggressive? Basically, when it's least aggressive, it's costing you less money, whereas most aggressive, it'll probably hit your P&L profit and loss statement a little bit more. So some of the least aggressive tactics could be, let me package up my offer in a course and an ebook and a quiz and a recommendation engine. Or maybe we give them early access to product because we've done a really good job with scarcity and urgency and FOMO. Now we're starting to give up a little bit on the margin. Hey, maybe the offer needs to include a bundle, a discount, or a free product. Maybe we do a giveaway. And again, free product gets pretty aggressive. Curology did that. Harry's did that. Hey, we'll give you a free product if you convert. Or like I said, the BOGO, buy one, get one. Or the most aggressive tactic, this one's super easy. We just pay people to become our customers. We saw it with PayPal. They're like, hey, we'll give you $20 in your PayPal account if you open an account today. Or Guilt Group, hey, we'll give you $25 every time you refer a friend. So again, what makes the most sense for your business model, for your product? So here are the different offers we tested. And again, the big takeaway here is I wasn't like, hey, here's one offer that has to work. We test these and they work in different ways. So one was this no sweat guarantee. Like if our shirt doesn't work, you get it for free. This one, we haven't tested it to the extent I want to. The first signals are that people don't care. There's other ways that I'm going to try and test this, but the early signals were like, okay, table that for another day. And then we started doing the no sweat closet upgrade, where you're getting this 3-pack where you're basically getting a really nice discount on top of it. This started to work really well, especially for our activation offer for first-time customers. And then the third one we did was the free tea campaign, where we basically give you a free tea for sharing it on social. This one worked a little bit too well, but now we have it as a tool in our toolkit to deploy when we want. But we're constantly testing this. But right now, our bundles are a really good activation offer. Okay. So we've talked about, the positioning, the offer, how to package it. How does that come to life with a funnel, and how do we do it kind of on the cheap? So I'm going to keep this super simple. If you're creating a funnel, how do we do this in the fastest way possible with the least amount of things required? So I'm going to say this. Let's just launch one ad campaign on Meta and Instagram, potential and Google ads as well, if there's high intent, like there is for us, people looking for sweat-proof shirts. And then 2, let's do a one landing page website, right? For us, we ended up doing kind of two with a cart, but this is how you can minimize your costs. And why am I calling this out? Too many times at our agency GrowthHit, people come to us, they're like, I spent 20 grand on branding, I spent 60K on this website, and now we're ready to launch ads with you. We tried it and it's not working, but we're out of budget. I'm like, oh my gosh, I really wish we could have talked to you earlier, where we start to iterate and test first before blowing money on things that aren't proven. So you kind of see how this goes. I want to create that offer. I want to figure out my traffic source. Again, with us, it was Meta, Instagram, and Google. And then how do we activate? For us, it was a homepage, product page, and cart. And then eventually we stand up email. So let's break that down. So let's talk about bottom of the funnel first, conversion. I kind of have a checklist here that in the e-products we'll go through more thoroughly, but we already hit on the positioning and the value prop and the site-wide offer. And notice how we have that, right? The value prop, I already went through that. And then, try Neat today, see our best sellers. Notice how we're leaning into, we've re-merchandised the website based on our inventory constraints that I mentioned, but really pushing them to those activation offers. And you can kind of see whenever we were fully stocked, we would be pushing like the starter, the no sweat closet upgrade. And notice this price point of $99. We're going to come back to this in a second. Okay. I want to show some other things we did on the website that I think are worth noting. The homepage, a lot of people will go through the homepage. We need the value prop to be dialed in. But what if they land on the product detail page because they're sent from a friend or because the ad landed them there? This needs to tell the same story that the homepage would, but in a different way. And the other thing that I'm very aware of, when we bought this company, the prices were $38. We raised them to $44. So if you're about to see $44 for a t-shirt, you need to see the value. If not, you're going to think it's overpriced. So first, we put the technical shots on the product detail page. So hide sweat, fast drying, stain resistant. And then notice down here how we show the engineering that goes into the shirt. So hopefully you start to see that. You see the quality that will help soften the blow of the price. The other thing, which is very true, is this shirt will sell out. And so we talk about that above the fold. And then we put user-generated content on this page here. And then we also have this other video reinforcing the technology behind Neat. You'll kind of see that in action here. And then we've got the comparison table. So what's the point of all this? This one product page needs to function as a killer ad landing page. So if you land here, it's a conversion machine. If you come to this page and you don't see the value, we have messed up. And also quality imagery is a big part of that. But like I said, we push the bundles, but let's say you come to this, notice at the checkout, hey, you spend $100, you get free shipping. You spend $200, you get a free shirt. This has been huge for increasing the average order value, where this design was huge for increasing the conversion rate. Okay, so again, our results, we lift the conversion rate to over 3%. We got the average order value up to over $100. Let's talk about ads, standing up ads. I won't go into too much detail on this. This is a deeper conversation. But for us, we're big fans of what was called dynamic creative testing, which is now flexible ads. This is a way to really work within the Facebook ad management tool to let the ads compete against themselves. So I'm showing an example of a brand where we didn't know how to position it. Do we say that the food is antibiotic-free, toxin-free, microplastic-free, mercury-free? Whenever you do the flexible ads or the dynamic creative ads, it allows you to let the ads compete against themselves to figure out the right messaging and positioning, as opposed to you trying to isolate a bazillion A/B experiments within your ads. So that's what we did. We set up the ads that way. That way we get the most out of our limited budget, which was $3,000 a month. And we'll get into the results, but I've kind of already mentioned it. ROAS over 300, cost per acquisition at $24. The other thing is, how do we speak to people? We already did our value proposition exercise, so I have the foundation of how I want to speak to people, but how does that come through with ad copy? And so we have a lot of different frameworks we use for ad copy: the problem solution copy, authority copy, bold statement, breaking news copy, sex appeal copy. And so we had a spreadsheet with 20 different frameworks. And so here's some of the copy that won, right? A PhD scientist finally made a sweat-proof shirt. Best-selling sweat-proof shirts. Yes, the shirt really hides sweat. And so we're still testing. This is what worked in the early days. It's definitely changed. In the playbook that we put all the copy frameworks there. But one thing that I want to call out, this is one of my favorite quotes from David Ogilvy, obviously the renowned advertiser. He says, if you're selling fire extinguishers, then start your ad with fire. And so I really think about that. So if with us, it's basically saying start with the problem. The problem is sweat, right? Really pour salt in that wound. Start with that magic moment. And so on the ad side, I'm going to show you the ads that we sorry, let me and I'll actually so let's jump. I'll show the top ads that worked for us. Okay. So here's the first one of unfortunately I did this one in my backyard to kind of show the water balloon working. I think why it worked is it wasn't some professionally done model. It's kind of raw, felt a little bit more authentic, and it just jumps right to the chase of the value prop. This is another one. We used an influencer platform, Join Brands, to find this content creator who made a really well done video for us. The other thing that's interesting is the extra large in this video and his size aligns with our top selling size. And so I think there's something interesting there, right? If you're selling to older demo, have the older demo. There's other times where I've seen it be the opposite, where people buy a brand because it's younger, more aspirational. But in our case, that wasn't necessarily so. Okay, and so we ran a lot of ads, and notice how I have other ads here. There's other static image ads that we did that some of them worked, some of them didn't, some of them worked but didn't scale. And so we wanted to know, okay, what ads work to be at our ROAS goal and which ones can scale. And I'll come back to our goals in a second. So let's now get into, you've got your copy, you've got your ads. We're about to deploy it based on that framework that I mentioned for running ads. But what's your growth model? How much can you spend on ads? How do you maximize your budget? So I'll kind of talk through how I think about this. First, you really need to understand your costs, right? How much it costs to make a t-shirt, how much it costs for shipping, what is sales tax, what's the pick fee, what's the return rate, right? Factoring that in. The other thing is, how often will people buy from you again and again? If you're just getting started, you don't know that. And maybe you have an acquisition product where they buy from you once a year, or maybe you're like us, where you're hoping they buy multiple times in a year. And so once you know your costs, you know your profit, but then you start to get a feel for what can I spend to acquire customer acquisition costs, CAC, that's what that means. And so for us, this is why we wanted to move to bundling. Let's say, and these are rough numbers, but if a shirt costs $10 or $15 and we sell it for 44, we're making $30 on that. But that also means, okay, I could use $30 to acquire a customer. I will break even or make a little bit of money on the first purchase, but then hopefully they will buy more. But if I start selling bundles, man, all of a sudden I can spend up to $70 to acquire a customer and not lose money. And so the bundling had a huge impact on our business model. Also, the repeat purchase rate in email has a huge impact on our business model. There's this formula, the profitable scaling margin, that we could do a workshop on in a future day that kind of hits on this. But for us, what does this mean? It means my floor for my return on ad spend is 1.3. I can run ads, I can scale ads as long as it's above that 1.3. And so once I know that number, I can work with my ad team. I can run it myself and know my guardrails for it. I also start to have a feel for my cost per acquisition, what I'm comfortable paying to acquire a customer. Okay, so now that you know your numbers, you get that example for Neat, you're running ads. But what helped us really sell out was the launch strategy tied to ads. So we're running ads, we're scaling ads, and it started to really hit its stride, at the 45, 60-day mark. But leading up to that, we did a lot of other things. So this will be in the sold out playbook. It's the pre-launch, launch, and post-launch strategy. Very much inspired by the book Launch from Jeff Walker. But I'll kind of hit on some fun things we did with Neat. So pre-launch, 30 days leading up to the launch of the new website, we're teasing things. We're showing snippets of the website. We're showing the patent that we got with it. We're doing pre-launch emails to past customers. Leading up to the launch, and on launch day, it gets much more aggressive, right? We're doing posts on that day. Hey, launch is tomorrow. Hey, it's live today. We're doing email blasts to all customers. We're manually texting, 100 plus people in each of our networks. And then post-launch is also where you make a lot of the money, because you need to send reminders. People are busy. Take victory laps on what's gone well, what maybe hasn't gone well. Like some of our products got stuck in New Jersey, so we were kind of making light of that. But you can kind of see the results, which was super fun, as all the work kind of like was leading up to that day. But it's not done after the launch. You start to do the launch, you see ads start to scale and work. Then the big question is, when is it peak season where you should be making money, spending more money? When is it a valley where, hey, this might be a time where we need to be creative? So like in those peak seasons, I want to have my site dialed in. I want to be maximizing ad spend. In those trough seasons, maybe it's Q1 like right now, we need to launch new products. We need to do collaborations to engineer noise. And so this is another thing we'll put in the playbook, but it's basically creating your growth calendar. So after the launch, it's not done and you can continue to sell out. But as a recap of the sold out playbook, first, are you even ready to grow? Go through that scalability assessment to see where you're strong and where you're weak. But then craft your unique value proposition. Do you know why your customer should care? Do you know how to speak to them? Second, what's that offer that can get people across the finish line to want to buy and test your product? Third, that should all come to life in a funnel. What's the homepage? What's the ad landing page? What do your ads look like? What's the copy? What's the creative? And then fourth, know your numbers. How much can you spend to acquire a customer? What is your ROAS floor? That way, if you're spending $10 a day, $100 a day, $1,000 per day, you know your guardrails. And then let's put a little gasoline on the fire with the launch strategy, right? Pre-launch, launch, post-launch, what you're doing there. But hopefully this is helpful. If you have any questions or comments, let me know in the chat. And I'll put this link here. I know some of you were hitting me up about it. I'm pumped to launch this here in a few weeks. We're taking a little bit longer because I thought it'd be cool to add in AI prompts for the sold out playbook. But again, or you could just watch this video again so you get it all for free. Link to sold out playbook. All right, cool. So this link is now in the chat. But I hope you enjoy it. This has been super fun, and we'll continue to build in public with Neat. We're always showing what we're doing, good or bad, with ads, with landing pages, with experiments. So much more to come. But thank you guys for tuning in. I think here in the next couple of weeks, we're going to be showing some of the AI tools and prompts we're using to run our brands, and how we're doing that to move faster and save some money. So that'll be coming up soon. So thank you guys so much for the time.